Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. It's not a good morning, actually. It's a very sad morning because 26 civilians, mostly terrorists, were killed in a terror attack in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir's Anantnag district on Tuesday. Now, what we are told by the sources is that this is one of the deadliest attacks in the valley since 2019 Pulwama strike. Now, the attack was based in Baisaran, which is a meadow accessible only on foot or by pony, where a group of tourists had gone visiting on Tuesday morning. Now, the Resistance Front, which is a shadow group of the banned Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba terror group, claimed responsibility for the attack, but a government statement confirming the same is awaited. Now, what we do know for sure is that Prime Minister Modi said that those behind this heinous attack will be brought to justice, will not be spared. And Prime Minister has also cut short his Saudi Arabia trip and arrived in Delhi this morning. So we'll try and find out what is the latest update in the Pahalgam killings. What are the factors on the ground which could have led to this dastardly attack? Is this an intelligence failure? Where does the buck stop? Joining me now this morning is Dr. Jasrotiya, who is the BJP spokesperson. Thank you so much. And he's in Srinagar right now. Also joining us is retired General Ashok Mehta. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining.
Good morning.
Anuradha Bhasin, veteran journalist and author, joins us. She's abroad. She's joined us from America. Thank you so much, Anuradha, for joining. And Nadir Ali, who's a political activist and also from the Center for Peace and Studies. Thank you so much, Nadir, for joining. And I'll begin with Anuradha because it's late night for her and we let her go after she finishes her point. Anuradha, what would you really say to this attack? What are the factors that could have led to a dastardly attack? And does it also look like an intelligence failure, massive intelligence failure? Yes.
Hi, sorry. It's difficult to exactly pinpoint what led to this incident. But in many, many ways, Kashmir has been disturbed for the last 35 years. And one could place this attack within the larger landscape of violence and bloodshed that has been happening. However, nonetheless, it is also extremely different because this is the first time that tourists have been attacked. Now, while that is an important aspect to think about because attacks on tourists are not acceptable in the valley where tourism is not just something people rely on for economy. As Kashmiris are known for their hospitality and they're very particular about their ethos and their culture, this militates against all those ethos, and there's never been an acceptability for tourism. Well, that's an important aspect. The other is that ever since 2019, the government has been trying to tell the nation that terrorism has been decimated, that Kashmir has returned to normalcy. And this, yet again, and this is not the only incident that has exposed the hollowness of such claims. Throughout the last 3-4 years, we do see an escalation in terror incidents, a revival of terrorism in Jammu, increasing attacks on civilians, which happened earlier. Kashmiri Pandit killings, migrant employees who were targeted, laborers from outside the state who were targeted in several different attacks. So it's been pinpointed again and again that these are hollow claims of normalcy, and there are problems that the government is not trying to address. Now, having said that, you also mentioned security lapses, and this also once again points to major security lapses. You started with Pulwama. Ever since Pulwama, one attack after the other, we do find the questions of accountability, the questions of security lapses, the questions of possible breakdown of intelligence failures, or the gap between the intelligence failures and the security protocols. that is missing. There are vulnerabilities there. And if we are not going to learn lessons, these incidents are going to be repeated again and again. You cannot continue to keep blaming others. Um, uh, you need to set your own house in order first.
Right. So you are saying that the situation on Radha is far from normalcy. All the claims which have been made by the government were not true, actually.
You do see a silence there, and the silence has been maintained under excessive militarization that has always existed, but that has been enhanced, that has been further spiked up after 2019 through a regular and systemic surveillance, through mechanisms of arbitrary raids, arbitrary arrests and detentions that has been going on. Now you can maintain that and suppress a population for some time physically. You cannot do it forever. It is unnatural. It cannot sustain. And there will be a time when the lid is off. And my worry is that some of that reaction, as we have seen yesterday, is could be violent, could be really virulently violent and brutal.
Right. One more question, Radha, and then I'll let you go because I know it's late night for you. Why Pahalgam? Many people are, attributing all sorts of reasons that there were a lot of Hindus over there. Then you have the shrine very nearby. Could also that be a factor? Why Pahalgam? Why terrorists
I
chose?
won't jump to conclusions. I think that that is the whole problem. I mean, since morning I've been trying to follow this story, and I don't see facts on the ground.
Right.
All I'm seeing is theories. All I'm seeing is even eyewitness accounts. Most of them are eyewitness accounts as told by officers who are anonymous. And so it's very difficult as a professional for me to see really what the truth is. And we
Right.
shouldn't be jumping to conclusions, or there could be n number of possibilities why they chose that place. Maybe geographically it was more suitable to breach, but it would be difficult.
But you do believe that there have been homegrown militants as well, and they are getting support from the other side of the border, rather.
That's been happening all along. Now, the government versions are that local militancy has been decimated. They're very few in numbers, in two-digit figures, and there is Pakistan militancy has stepped up in last year when we saw or several slew of terror attacks, and particularly in Jammu region in the Pir Panchal area. There were different reports pointing to a Pakistan hand. But it is at the same time, it is difficult, I won't say impossible, in today's world where technologies have changed, for any operatives from outside or across the border or anywhere um, uh, coming in without having some local support. Why is that local support there?
Right.
Is that itself is an indication, and despite that suppression, that itself is an indication that there is something wrong and troubling in the valley. There is deepening resentment that forces inimical to peace can take advantage of.
Right. Okay, so let me now get in Abhijeet Jasrotiya, who's there in Srinagar. He was at Pahalgam last evening. Abhijeet, what do you think are the factors that have led to a terror attack like this? And as what Anuradha has been saying, that all the claims which the government has been making, uh, they seem to fall flat almost.
First of all, I will start on humanitarian grounds. First and foremost of all, I would like to condole And whatever has happened over there, my sympathies are there, and we stand with the families of all those who have lost their years and years of there. And simple words are good not enough to take care of, because it's a big, big thing. And those who have lost years and years, they can very well feel the pain also. I was in Anantnag yesterday. Then we were the first to reach in medical college also. There were certain patients were there, and surgery was also going on one of the patients, because others were taken care by the doctors. And there was a serious surgery going on. The person had received 2, 3 bullets, but we were anticipating that he will be safe, and I hope that he's safe today. After that, we came back to Srinagar today. No, first of all, most of all, the way another is telling, let us be very clear. It's a park proxy, their parks to these, and we know very well from where all this stuff. It's only Pakistan which has a basic problem.
Your audio is getting disrupted.
Am I audible now?
No, you're audible, but it's interruptive. It's not very clear. Maybe there's some problem in the earpiece or the Bluetooth you've got connected. I don't know. Yeah, just go ahead. I'll check on it.
Yeah. So when we're talking about the Pakistan, the main part of the Pakistan is that because the sort of development you have seen in Kashmir exactly after 2019, that things have improved in Kashmir tremendously. The footfall of the tourist G20 like events, and the way the standard and the lifestyle of the people is moving from 4 5 years, that is really indigestible and intolerable to a country like Pakistan. And that is the only reason, because whatever they do over here, that's the only reason that they want to divert the issues of the Pakistan, of the local Pakistanis, the way they are suffering in Pakistan. Now, Pakistan, you can understand when their army chief is talking on those lines, on communal lines, you can very understand what a sort of banana republic is Pakistan, a country where trains are looted and trains are not safe in today's era. You can kidnap a train. You can very well understand the bloch problem is there and everything is there. The ISI in the Pak Stooges, they want to divert the issue. That is why they try to infiltrate terrorists into our territory. Most of the times, our brave security forces, they are able to neutralize them, but 1 or 2% of margin of error remains in every country.
Abhijeet, would you not admit that there has been a massive intelligence failure, because there are so many terrorists? Why enough security wasn't there? How could those terrorists enter and attack those visiting tourists? These are some very serious questions. And if we don't ask those questions from the government, I'm sure we won't be doing justice to the lives which have been lost.
See, security lapse, if you'll talk, I'll still say that the country from where now Anuradha was talking from US, if Twin Towers were not safe, then you can understand which country is safe in 2 days. Or no country is safe. 1 or 2% of margin of error is always there.
No, the government has been making,
are capable enough to handle all these things. But these things happen.
Abhijeet, let's be honest that the government has been making tall claims about normalcy in Kashmir, that everything is normal, there are heavy footfall of the tourists. But what about those claims? Are we not going to ask those questions from the government today?
See, government, we have done everything over here, and I'm still talking about that 1 or 2% of the margin of error is always there. Which country is safe in this world? Pakistan, which is a breeding ground of terrorists, and which is a breeding ground of all this such sort of heinous crimes, is safe. And unfortunately, we are neighbor of geographically, we cannot change our location. This country is there. Anyways, talking about my government, we know that how to teach them a lesson. You know very well what we did in Balakot and in Dudi surgical strike, and very soon we are going to teach them a same lesson. But the thing is this, those who have done it, those people who are still standing with Pakistan, what about those proxies over here? And I'll say that it is a surprise of everybody. Yes, just a few years back, one of the member parliament of the present government in Jammu and Kashmir National Conference, he was talking about the cultural invasion. And what about this cultural invasion? No, it has happened over here. These are such sort of Sony gospel to provoke over here.
Okay, so I'll come to General Mehta now. General Mehta, how do you really view this attack and the very fact that so many terrorists have so many tourists have got killed? What would you really say to an attack like this? What do you think is the real intention of the terrorists? why they've infiltrated, why they've used the homegrown militants? What do these factors point at?
Well, I think I would also like to add my deep regret and condolences for this attack because after a long time, after Pulwama, at this scale, any terrorist attack has been perpetrated by Pakistan. So it's a very sad day, but it's also a fact that Jammu and Kashmir is not being freed of terrorism, as the government has claimed consistently that, and especially after 5th August 2019, we somehow, the present government somehow believes that whatever it does internally on Kashmir is settles the issue of Kashmir, of integration, and that it's a two tongue of India. We've seen reactions from China after 2019. We've seen reactions from Pakistan. So the first reason I think is to nail the lie or the false claim that there's no terrorism. The terrorism, Jammu and Kashmir is free of terrorism. Anuradha spoke about silence, but silence is of course not equal to complicity, but silence is also something that is imposed. So I think the major reason for this and the selection of the target, regrettably, it's a soft target. In terrorism, terrorists choose targets on the basis of military targets and civilian targets. That's the fundamental principle. And after a long time, they have chosen a soft civilian target in an area where they knew there was minimal security or zero security. And I think they hit uh, with one stone. They hit two birds. They carried out a terrorist attack and completely disrupted the
No, but
economy.
General Mehta, I was listening to General G.D. Bakshi yesterday on a channel where he said that during COVID times there was no recruitment in the army, and why they did not recruit is a call which like any is anybody's guess. Now, do you think that the armed forces also have gone wrong, or the Home Ministry has gone wrong somewhere? What is your sense?
No, you see, the armed forces can provide a certain level of security along with the other security forces. There is no such thing, 100% security at every place. Not even the United States of America. No country in the world can provide zero risk security. So it doesn't mean that because you did not have troops deployed there, because that area is being considered, you have your Pahalgam Yatra going there frequently, although there have been attack on yatris earlier. So, I don't think that is the principal reason that because of the lack of recruitment or voids on the ground, that the terrorists were able to what they have been able to do. I mean, you can inundate that place with troops and determined terrorist force, will get in and do, and especially against a soft target. But I think the more basic point is this, that this is also another occasion where the terrorists have made it communal. I mean, firstly, they do not kill women and children, as we noticed. They will only kill men, and they will kill Hindus, because this is what's happened. It's a phenomenon that is prevalent world over. When I was doing my research for Operation Parakram, and we had come to a figure of about 30 or 40,000 when insurgency was at its peak in 2001, 2002. I pointed out that amongst the civilians who were killed, there were 11,000 civilians who were Muslims. But the Muslims, as a matter of rule, are largely collateral. In other words, like the guys who got wounded in Pahalgam, the Muslims, and the guys who helped the tourists are part of the collateral. The targets, this was targeted assassinations, targeted killings of Hindus in order. And what is interesting is, a couple of days before this, the Chief of Army Staff, Asim Munir, talked about two-nation theory. He said we have Hindus, India, and Pakistan, Muslim Pakistan. And this two-nation theory and the jugular vein, which Pakistan has often spoken about, the army chief revived this 2 or 3 days ago at some place. And so that is not unimportant, that what Pakistan is trying to tell India is, this matter of Jammu and Kashmir is still very much alive, and the reason for terrorism, the larger reason for terrorism, is to keep the issue of Jammu and Kashmir alive, so that India doesn't think that by passing in revoking Article 370 or by carrying out internal reforms, for example, Kashmir today, Jammu and Kashmir is governor's rule. There is an elected government, but de facto it's governor's rule, because the chief minister has no powers. Security is not in his hands anymore. It's the governor and Delhi who are running the show in Jammu and Kashmir, simply because they don't have the confidence.
Right. Let me get a response from Abhijeet on this, what you've just pointed out. Abhijeet, can you respond to what General Mehta has said?
See, 2-3 things are there. First and foremost of all, he's right that obviously these parties are doing a thing over here, and this heinous crime is done by them. That we also know over here. Then when we are talking about the other aspects, a major thing which I would like to add over here is this: obviously, where one side the target was selected, their religion was asked, and that is why they were. The other side, when I was in hospital yesterday, I saw the same doctor who operated upon the patient. He was praying, he was offering namaz and just praying that he should recover. So these are all sides of the same man. But people are here, good and bad people are there in society, and this world is why all these things are happening over here. But one thing is there, I would like to talk about the elephant in the room, and which nobody is talking. That is about what about the local sport. And local sport is not only of those 1 or 2% studios who are still helping them. Local sport is of certain politicians over here. The way, because I still like to condemn those remarks of this their MP Agar Hula. Just a few months back, he was talking about cultural invasion, and he was trying to correlate with the rise in the tourism in Kashmir. I mean, this is the mentality these people are suffering from. Normal Kashmiri, when yesterday also when I was talking to media, I was saying that they said
Is it really
all of the
fair?
Kashmiris, they
No, Abhijeet,
keep waiting.
is
They
it
keep on
really
waiting for
fair?
these tourists, that these tourists
Listen,
will come and they
no,
will earn their bread and butter out of that.
Abhijeet,
There are people who are
Abhijeet,
waiting that this
Abhijeet,
season I'll get my
Abhijeet,
sister
just
married,
listen to
I'll
me.
get my daughter
Abhijeet,
married,
can you listen
I'll
to me?
repay my loans. And this is
Abhijeet, can you
basically,
listen to me?
they have,
Abhijeet, you are going on talking and you're not listening to me. What I'm saying is
yeah,
that
yeah.
is it fair to talk about a point like cultural invasion? Okay, that whatever has happened. But would you not admit to the fact that the claims which have been made by the government that look, there are policies which we are trying to implement in the valley, there are policies which we are trying to implement across Kashmir. There was a feeling that, even the homegrown and the radicalized youths will be brought into the mainstream. What about those claims? And what about the intelligence failure? Did you not have any information that you had your own youths who were indulging in activities like these and they were in association with the other side of the border? I mean, would you not admit that there has been any lackadaisical attitude from the government?
You just tell me, when we claim that it is 101% terrorism, Kashmir is 101% terrorism, we are talking about situation. Have the situation not improved from post 5 years? For a single instance of operating, tourists have increased over here. To many lakhs they have
See,
increased, many crores they have increased.
I agree that
It's
there
all
cannot be 100% security.
the ground.
No, I agree that there cannot be 100% security, but I don't agree with the fact that you have a high tourist spot like Pahalgam. It's a season where everyone is going. You don't have an intelligence input for that place. You don't have any kind of deployment. There are a bunch of people who are just killed from where they come, and then we don't ask questions on this matter. And you're talking about cultural invasion here, this, that, who's, I mean, I don't know.
I'll respond. I'll respond to that. First and foremost of all, the same thing I'll say: 101% terrorism free. That is not true. Not when you're talking about the government. Government is trying to do everything over here. Whatever has been done from past 30 years, we are suffering for that. I would say big gap. It is there. 30 years is a good enough time for all these people who have thrived on this basically the turmoil over here. And there are still certain people over here whose bread and butter runs on this killing of innocents over here. There are still
Forget
certain
30
people over here.
years.
And if you
Forget
are talking
30
about my
years.
government,
Forget 30
yesterday
years.
my
No,
home minister,
Abhijeet,
yeah,
on a day like this, I don't want to talk about past 30 years. I want to know what your government has been doing for past 5
I'll tell
years.
you.
You invoked
I'll tell
Article
you. I'll tell you.
370. You've said that everything is becoming normal in Kashmir. Let's
Neelu,
talk
let me.
about
Neelu, let me.
30
Let
years.
me
I
speak.
don't
Neelu,
know
just
people
1 minute. I'll
remember.
take.
Yes,
Just one
Abhijeet,
minute.
please.
You'll just 1 minute. Give me just 1 minute. Situation has really changed. Yesterday, you see how responsible our government. Yesterday, only my home minister has arrived in Srinagar, and you know the difference between our home minister Amit Shah and the home minister Sushil Kumar Shinde. I hope you have heard what he said just few months back in one of the seminars. This is the difference over here. We know very well. We are very serious on this situation, and situation will be taken care. And this Pakistan will be taught a lesson very soon.
All right. Okay. Now let me get in Nadir Ali, and then I'll go back to General Mehta. Nadir, you are working closely on the ground. What is really happening on the ground, and how are these homegrown militants working in association with the other side of the border? Is this not a worrisome thing? And what are the factors you'll attribute to this?
Thank you, Niluji. First of all, we are all human beings. This terror attack is very serious. It was massacre. What we have seen yesterday. So I condemn Pahalgam Terror Attack, where 28 persons were killed, innocent persons were killed, and in Kashmir, where uh, uh, teachers association, traders, the political activists, the social activists, they have given the Bandh call today to protest against the innocent killing of people. What happened in Pahalgam? So you have seen how Kashmiri have supported, come on the roads and talk to non-locals, talk to tourists, you will be fine. There is nothing. We're against these kind of terror attacks. But what we have seen since last night on social media, how BJP IT cell is targeting, creating narrative that this is the narrative between Hindus and Muslims. So this is absolutely rubbish. Second thing, a terrorist has no religion. He belongs to terrorism, and terrorism is evil disease. So he has no religion. So no locals, because no locals were injured there, and no one non-local, Said Sajjad Hussain Shah, he has been killed also. He was from district Anantnag. So please, for God's sake, don't create this narrative. It's a Hindu and Muslim issue. It's a humanitarian issue. The human beings have been killed, whether it's our Hindu brothers or a Muslim. They have been killed. Second thing was very important thing. When we talk about the security lapse, it was a big security lapse, a big. I mean, we have never seen such kind of security lapse since Kandahar. It's a big, huge. You will say how. Point is, there were Navy officers, IB officers, Air Force officers. They had come here to celebrate holidays here. They were in Pahalgam. Okay, so someone who have leaked this message that these officers are in this vicinity. So they targeted those officers as well. Unfortunately, one IB officer and one Air Force officer were killed. This very unfortunate, very unfortunate. So it shows how this was a big security lapse. We can't say that some MP has said this, some another MP has said this. The point is what we are doing. Then why are we claiming that we have created such an environment where we have dismantled everything? Demonetization happened in 2015 November. Amit Shah said that at that time, हमने कमर तोड़ी है terrorism की, इसीलिए हमने demonetization किया. These were his words. तो कहाँ है? Why terrorism is still active in J&K? Earlier, I agree with Jasrotiya Sahab, there is no stool pelting currently in Kashmir. There are no hartal calls. Earlier, it was a record. It was a 2.5 district problem. 2.5 district problem. And it was on stone pelting, something like that. There was not that much of terror attacks. But today, Jammu was free from terrorism. Now Jammu is involved. Whole Jammu. Kashmir is involved. FT's numbers are high. Okay. Locals, we don't know because they have changed the definition. The government are saying they are hybrids. So we don't know who are hybrids. We don't know about them. The basic point is you have to understand that false narrative are not going to create any impact. Anuradha said silence. There is a silence. Silence here is a forceful piece, and silence is more dangerous than anything else in Kashmir. It has been history. If you look at the 60s, 50s, 70s, whenever Kashmiris are silent, it will have more dangerous impacts than anything else.
Right. But General Mehta, I'll come back to you and then I'll take a comment from Abhijeet again that what is the solution now? I mean, Pulwama happened and how it happened till date, we do not know the details of the investigation. About Pahalgam, we are all hoping that there will be an honest investigation into this particular case. Some more details will come out. But what is the solution? Do we militarize the valley further? Or the government has to work on the ground level as well to engage with the people? Because we remember when the Kargil happened, there were shepherds who gave inputs to the armed forces. And on that basis, people fought that out. But those kind of networks are missing these days. Yes, General Mehta.
Is that for me?
Yes, General Mehta, to you. Yes.
Oh, well, I think that is the dilemma for the government. The response. There is no doubt that there has been an intelligence failure, lapse of intelligence, lapse of local response to the attack, zero local response. And the reasons we've discussed in brief earlier. But now the question is, how does a 66-inch chest-owning prime minister respond? And in the past, the prime minister has responded very muscularly. We remember what happened after the attack in Uri. There was what they mistakenly called surgical strikes. It was a ground attack during General Sohag's time. and we conducted a raid 3 or 4 kilometers inside Pakistan, and we claimed this, that, and the other. But we were satisfied that we crossed over into Pakistan and responded to the Uri attack, although that was not the first time that we had crossed over. Then Pulwama happened, and it was quite different. As I mentioned in the beginning, that in terrorism, there is this question of targets. There's a military target which is justified, a civilian target, that is why it's called terrorism. That's terrorism, but it's on a military target. This terrorism is highly condemned because it's carried out against civilians. The Pulwama attack was against CRPF convoy, and about 40 people, I think, were killed. And the government of India's response was Balakot. And that Balakot was, for the first time in India's post-independence history, that India crossed the international border and attacked JEM, Jaish-e-Mohammed camp deep into Pakistan and returned. And the escalation that followed, we all know. Wing Commander Abhinandan was taken into custody. Pakistani retaliated with air attacks. And then Katil Ki Raat, how PM had said at that time that he had these 9 Agni missiles targeting Pakistan, and how he forced Imran Khan to release under pressure. Now, the geopolitical context was very different at that time. Yes, Trump was the prime minister, was the president, and India was very close to elections, and therefore India was able to conduct this with this counter strike, the strike in Balakot,
Yes.
with an escalation, but controlled escalation, thanks to the Americans. And everything, was they ended happily ever after.
Right.
But
Yeah,
not very.
in fact, yes.
But now the problem is, because it's a soft target, and the geopolitical context is the world is in tariff turmoil, can Modi do something as spectacular as
That's
what
true.
happened in 2019? To that, my answer is no. He cannot. But he has to show to be what his reputation is all about.
Yeah,
And
no, but you made an important point, General Mehta, and I'll come to Abhijeet. He has to go somewhere, so I'll quickly come to you and then come to Nadir. That we see certain if you join the dots, Prime Minister Modi was in Saudi Arabia. Then you have the American Vice President J.D. Vance, who is in India when this attack has happened. Can you join the dots as far as the geopolitical factors are concerned? And of course, India cannot afford another Balakot. Or would you think that still India is going to retaliate with a similar kind of an action, what we saw in 2019?
See, when it comes to our civilians or our citizens, I don't think we will even think twice before doing anything such, because we know very well how to teach this Pakistani lesson. But my problem is not again that. My problem is again about those 1 or 2% people who are still
No,
here.
so you are saying that the geopolitical factors don't matter. You will still go ahead with
when
an
it comes to
airstrike.
security of my when it comes to the security of my people, then we won't care about any other things. It's a different sort of government. I hope people might have learned this thing from Uri and Balakot surgical strikes. And going by the history also, the time in we did that Pokhran test. That time also we didn't care about anything. As far as what comes first is our civilians and our citizens of this country. And we are proud to have a Prime Minister like Narendra Modi, who knows very well how to deal with such sort of situations. It's a situation over here, but my problem is again those 1 or 2% Pak sympathizers over here who are trying to again correlate and try to give a clean sheet to the Pakistan, because nobody, today also, you can check, there won't be a single tweet from any such sort of politician who will directly condemn Pakistan and will at least come on the same stage, on the same platform with us to condemn this nation. But we know very well how to take care of the things. We have done it. The situation have really improved, and at least going by my experience of 2 decades over here, I have seen things in Kashmir. It's unfortunate what have happened last night, yesterday, and my sympathies again go with the families of all those people. But wait for certain things over here. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay. So you are saying that, okay, thank you, Abhijeet, thank you. You're saying that you will not think twice if you have to make another airstrike. Nadir, I'll come to you now for your response to on what Abhijeet has just said, and then I'll take the concluding comments from General Mehta. Yes, Nadir.
Well, I hope this is not another Jumla, because BGP is the expert in Jumlas. After this surgical strike, Operation Balakot, so they said we taught lesson to Pakistan. Then how these kinds of terror attacks at a big level is happening again and again. So basic point you have to understand: the security lapse, the intelligence failure, the narrative of a fake narrative, hollow narrative. Kashmir is all is well in Kashmir. This government couldn't understand silence of Kashmir. This government, the people of Kashmir gave hint during the Assembly and Lok Sabha election to Government of India that we are not accepting your muscular policy. Fifth thing, that's more important thing, that is you are not connected with the people of Kashmir, because terrorism will go only when society will reject terrorism, when society will reject militancy. That our ex-Prime Minister, Honorable Manmohan Singh, tried, and that's why we had seen peace in Kashmir during his tenure.
Right. All right. So I'll come to General Mehta. That what would you really say to this dastardly attack, sir, towards the end? And what should the government be doing at this point of time? Can we afford another Balakot style of a strike? And as what Abhijeet Jasrotiya was saying, that we will not think twice, but when it comes to protecting our people, we'll go ahead, we'll strike. I don't know. I mean, and is the government really going to introspect honestly as to what has really gone wrong on the ground? Because it's just not about a military solution. Yes, General Mehta.
Well, I think this government is in the bad habit of not investigating its lapses. It gets wiser after the event. We had the Chinese incident in 2020 in East Ladakh, where they came and occupied the line of breaching the line of actual control, carried out multiple intrusions and occupied areas from Baisaran to Demchok. And we have not heard 6 years or 5 years after that what happened, who's responsible for the intelligence lab. So you're unlikely to hear about this. The loud tone we just heard from the gentleman who spoke a short while ago, Mr. Jasrotiya, I think, personally think that what has happened is that deterrence, the word in the lexicon of counterterrorism and in conflict, is deterrence. If there is a deterrence between two sides and that is maintained, then a kind of cold peace exists. But it seems that Pakistan has broken that deterrence by a choice of a target which it thinks is below the threshold of that deterrence that was established during Balakot. The selection of a target a soft target against the military target in Pulwama, Pakistan believes that that will permit it to get away this time without a response. And the second associated point is that it's this what situation obtained in 2019 domestically. India was on the verge of a big election, and we know how Balakot helped the government with at least 25% votes. The simple fact that Balakot happened, and that the geopolitical context, as I explained, was quite different. Today it is quite different. It's Trump 2. It's not Trump 1. That although Mr. Vance may come to Delhi and we can look after him like as if he was the president, the situation is very clear. The Americans will now only do what is in their national interest, not in India's national interest or in India's interest.
Very true.
And therefore, for India to rely as it did in 2019 and carry out the airstrikes, that situation does not obtain. So I think wiser counsel will prevail, and a smaller response will be presented. Response there will be, but not at the level we saw in 2019.
And I just hope, that the mainstream. Yes, Nadir, you are you saying something?
No.
Okay, so what? No, we will just wind up the show now. But I just hope that the mainstream media doesn't communalize this event, because it's not about Hindus or Muslims being killed, but it's a dastardly attack which should be fought out from all possible angles, militarily, socially, politically, and we need multiple solutions to a problem like this. It's just not about an airstrike and then we finish it off and gain some brownie points, but our heart goes out to those families whose dear ones have been killed. And just imagine the kind of thought which they must have visited that tourist spot. They must have come with an objective to enjoy, spend some family moments, and this is what they have to return back with. So our deepest condolences, and on behalf of the federal group, we offer our condolences and all our sympathies with the families of those who've passed away in this dastardly attack. Thank you so much, General Mehta. Nadir Ali, thank you very much for joining. Thank you.